Laughing Vikings Live. High vibe chats with actors, comedians, and creators, plus stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, and most importantly, you. That's right, join us every Monday for new episodes, and you can be a part of the show on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Ask questions and interact in the comments, and make sure to share this with your actor, comedian, and creator friends so they can be a part of the show too. Can't make a live show? No problem. You can catch up on your favorite podcast platform and visit laughingvikings.com to find out how you can join the cast and crew. All right, it's time for today's show. Buckle up and make sure you stick around to the end because we have a special surprise for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Laughing Vikings Live. Happy Monday Fun Day. Let's go. Oh, hey, Brandon. Welcome to episode 80, the Abraham Lincoln of episodes. Look what I have for you.
What's that, Lars?
Oh! Gotcha. Take that, mofo.
Oh, well, I see how it goes. I see how it is, huh? Why don't you take this?
Oh, come on. What are you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm going to give you one of these.
Yeah. Oh!
I could do this all day, buddy, till I win an Oscar. Come on, bring it on. It fuels my fire. Hit me. Hit me.
Yeah!
Stop trying to hit me and hit me.
Yeah, come on.
More.
No.
More. More. All right. And scene. That was our accurate reenactment of the Chris Rock Will Smith incident. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Where's my Oscar? Hello. Where's my Oscar? Yes. Welcome. This is episode 80. As I mentioned, the 4-score episode, Abraham Lincoln's favorite. And don't worry, Abraham Lincoln gave us full permission to use the word and the phrase 4-score.
Yep. We have it written down somewhere. I'd show it to you, but
yes,
it's not within reaching range.
Yes. How are you out there in internet land, viewers, listeners? If you're with us live right now, and there are a handful of you, let us know in the comments right now what city you're from, where you're watching from, and be sure to interact, ask questions throughout the episode because this is an interactive thing here. This isn't just us broadcasting. This is us having an international conversation. Yes. Do we even want to talk about the slaps, or can we just leave that to the internet? That's been the entire internet.
Yeah, let's leave that to the internet. Let's talk about
the only thing I want to say. I just want to say one thing. I want to say one thing about it.
Say one thing.
First of all, violence is never the answer. Anyone who's arguing on Will Smith's side, like, oh, he was justified. It's like, would you say that to your kid if a kid admitted? Man, maybe you would. I don't know what I'm saying. Now I'm like, oh yeah, if your kid's being bullied, you should tell them to punch the bully back. But in this case, it's a celebrity and a comedian, and celebrities, you're millionaires. You just need to sit back and take the jokes. And could you imagine if every celebrity who's ever been dissed by a comedian, by the host of the Oscars or the Emmys, got up and slapped the host? Like Ricky Gervais would have no face skin left. He would just be a bloody skeleton face from so many slaps.
I mean, Lars, like as a comedian and as a host, if someone did come up on stage live, how would you react?
It's terrifying. It's the worst thing ever. I've never had people like approach me physically, but like where I thought I was threatened. But I have seen people come like look like they're walking to the stage. And I've been at shows where I wasn't the one on stage, but where a drunk person or someone who's offended comes to the stage, and it's just not the place for it. It's like sticks and stones may. How's it go? Sticks and stones may break my bones,
but words will never hurt me.
Yeah. Slaps and punches may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And I'm not discounting the fact that, okay, yeah, if it was an off-color joke or you're punching down on someone's medical condition, all that to say, like, yeah, that's true, but you can't just go hit people, like that's not Violence isn't the answer. And Will Smith apologized. The hilarious thing is everyone's talking about this, and they were probably at a Bel Air mansion partying it up in the night with millions and millions of dollars. So it's like none of them are so hard done by that they're like, oh, woe is me. It's like he's celebrating an Oscar. Chris Rock is still Chris Rock at the end of this. In fact, maybe I think that maybe the silver lining to all this, maybe all disputes we should hearken back to the olden days where when someone disrespected your honor, you did slip a glove on and you smack them with your glove, or how did it work? Maybe you take the glove off and you smack them with the glove.
God, stop doing that.
The problem is not slaps. The problem is when slaps escalate to punches, to knives, to guns, to tanks, to missiles, to nuclear bombs. That's the problem. So maybe the lesson Will Smith and Chris Rock taught us is every dispute should be settled by slaps. And it's just, you get a slap. Chris Rock, maybe I think what they should do is they should have a public slapping where Chris Rock gets his rebuttal slap.
Public slapping.
Yeah. He gets like, you know what? I was in the wrong. I shouldn't have slapped Chris Rock in front of the entire world. And now Chris Rock gets to slap me back in front of the entire world.
So this is like a televised event for this one slap.
Yeah.
Does he get one slap or does he get more?
Slap. No, just one slap.
One slap.
Just one slap.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like this would be like commentated on, like there would be sports announcers. People would be taking bets on it somehow.
Oh, this could be a pay-per-view event. This would be televised pay-per-view, like as a opening fight to one of the UFC title fights. It's just Chris Rock and Will Smith, and he's just got his one hand.
Who's the opening act?
Yeah, I don't know. Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. Yeah. Kudos to Chris Rock too for continuing on as well. What a great job to like recover and be like, all right, here we go. You know, like that was it was impressive. The whole thing was a debacle. I'm still not sure whether it was real, staged, fake. I mean, it was real. It looks like he got hit, but these are some of the world's best actors. So if anyone can pull it off, I also did feel like it kind of seemed like Will Smith and Chris Rock had a smile on their face. And Chris Rock, as Will Smith is approaching him, he had his hands behind his back and he kind of leaned forward like, hey, you want to slap me in the face? Like it was a little like, hey, you want to, here we go. Slap me in the face. Hit me. There you go. If you watch it in slow-mo, he was like, he didn't back away. His hands didn't come up. Like, why the fuck is Will Smith approaching me? Is Will Smith coming up here to handshake me and give me a high five?
I don't think the first thing anyone would think of when someone's approaching them like that they're going to get slapped.
Right.
Especially on live TV.
Right.
And so I don't know. It seemed, I feel like you could justify that as like Chris Rock was leaning into thinking Will Smith's going to tell him something or like say something to him.
I think they both decided. I think it's 50-50 that Chris Rock, I don't think it's a massive conspiracy theory where the entire Oscar production was like, you know what we're going to do? I think the likeliest of conspiracies is a 2-person conspiracy, maybe 3 if you include Jada. And they were like, you crack a joke, we're going to be laughing about it. I'm going to come up and give you a slap in the face. It's going to be this big thing. We'll make all the headlines. We'll steal all the thunder from all these brilliant movies and brilliant actors for our vaudeville slap fest here. Yeah. Well, that was a lot of talking about a slap that we said we weren't going to talk about. So
there you go.
Let's move on. Thank you, Will Smith, and thank you, Chris Rock, for giving the entire world something to talk about other than global war.
Yep. Thank you.
And now back to the war.
Do you want to get into some client shout outs, Lars?
Yes, we should. Of course, we're here every week at Laughing Vikings Actor Audition Club. And what do we do here? We help actors rehearse and record professional auditions via Zoom and in studio without having tech troubles, without having to bug your family and friends, so that you can book more roles in TV and film. And we do that every week with dozens and dozens of actors here over the year. We've done it hundreds of times, thousands of times since we've been in existence. And thankfully, we get some great shout outs and some great reviews on Google. And you got one that you pulled up here. You can go over this one, Brandon.
Yes, this is from Biggin Nem, also known as Nem Stankovic. He did a session with Lars last week. He says, helped me tremendously with my first big audition, provided great notes, direction, and produced the whole audition and sent it off to my agent and myself. Easy peasy. Learned a lot in the process. Will definitely be back for bigger auditions.
Yes, yes. I love that he used the phrase easy peasy, lemon squeezy, easy peasy, Febreze. That's he's got his nickname there, Biggin Nemania, but Big Nem Stankovic. One of my favorite things about running sessions is we get to meet actors that I've never met before. It was his first time in the studio. His agent recommended that he come here to get a high quality tape. It was a very big audition compared to some of the other ones that he's been getting. And he's 6'9". He's originally from Serbia. And this is the thing I love when I meet new people. I was like, I want to know your whole life story. How did you start? Where did you come from? Who are you? He's 6'9", originally from Serbia. He got a basketball scholarship to a university in Chicago and then later in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And his program that he was studying was filmmaking. So he's a filmmaker as well, and then has transitioned to doing on camera. He's done some stand-up as well, but great guy, but huge. And he was playing the role was to play this huge guy. But yeah, he was great. And he told us about a documentary that he's putting out. It's not quite released, but it's a real life version of the 40-year-old virgin. He's got a buddy of his who is a real life 40-year-old virgin due to family and religious reasons, sort of being a little overprotective for those reasons. And he took him on a cross country jaunt over the span of 8 years to like show him the ways of wooing the ladies. And apparently you'll have to find out whether he's still a virgin or not. But shout out to Nem Stankovic. Also, great name. Nem Stankovic from downtown.
Oh, yeah.
That's 3 for Stankovic. Oh, boy. Stankovic. He's on fire. Right?
You and Nem should get into a 3-point competition. See which one of you is better.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's way better than me. You're like, I beat you, but we're both amateurs. So yeah, I don't know if that counts. He was a pro baller at one point. So shout out to Nem Stankovic. Yeah, he was really fun to work with, easy to work with. And immediately we vibed and gelled, and we were already talking like, yeah, we should collab. And he also does a lot of sketches online as well too. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. It's great.
Amazing.
Got another one here?
I do. We got one from Chris George. Do you want to read this out, Lars?
Yes. Chris George says, ask for Brandon Knox. That guy is a coaching god. Oh, so helpful and friendly. Always has amazing insight to help me focus on the character instead of the camera. Cannot recommend it enough. Yes. And Chris is a friend of yours. You guys have worked together in the past. So yeah, I'm sure you guys have great chemistry and vibe well together. So shout out to Chris George.
Oh, yeah. He has his own YouTube channel called Room and Board. He reviews and talks about different board games, a lot from Kickstarter. He's a huge board game fanatic and absolutely one of the greatest people you'll ever meet. I love Chris George. Fantastic person. I play games with him all the time, and I never get bored of him. So he is one of the best.
In a weird synchronicity, isn't there an NBA basketball player called Chris George, or is that Chris Paul?
There is a basketball player called Chris Paul. I don't know if there. I'm not sure if there's a basketball player named Chris George.
All right. Well, that was 30 seconds of my life I want back then.
You probably wasted anyway.
Please edit it out. What are you talking about? I don't waste any time. You're saying I waste time?
No, that's all right. I made a quote. Never mind. It's a Simpsons quote.
All right. This is a great one. I love getting these, by the way. So thank you to all of our clients who take the time to leave these reviews. They are really helpful on Google and on Facebook. And this is one of my favorites. I get little emails. My phone blows up with notifications from Google, and I get to read them and be like, "Ooh, Brandon's going to love this one." So Tim Daniels gave us 5 stars 4 days ago. He says, "Yesterday was my first time getting professional assistance with a self-tape, and it was better than I even imagined it. Brandon Knox, on top of the fact that he's got years of experience backing his excellent service, he was just as invested in the scene and understanding the scene as well as your character to find great choices, gave great direction and suggestions for you to play with. And I imagine that Lars Classington is bringing his own brand of excellence to work that they do there as well." I like how he gave me a shout out as well. They want to remind you of the fun there is to be had while at play. And clearly, I can't say enough good things about what goes down there. Boom. That was great. And I love, one of my favorite things about these testimonials and reviews is when their idea of what we're attempting to do comes across. And because we've talked about that so many times. We talked about it at Audition Hero, how we are invested and we do treat our clients' auditions like our own. Often they're people we know they're friends of ours. We know their family and their wives and their kids. So we are invested in their success and we want them to do well and we want them to book the role. And that comes across here. So kudos to you, Brandon, for doing a great job with Tim. And then the other thing is that we have fun. We had that conversation as he was leaving. He was like, "That was really fun. I had a lot of fun." And that's often the note that we get as people are leaving. They're like, if I'm not running the session, I'll ask them as they're leaving. I'll be like, "How'd it go? Did it go well?" I'll be like, "Yeah, it was really fun. He was so fun." And I hear you guys laughing back there. I hear you guys watching the replay on the monitors, both laughing back and forth. So, and we remind people, and our coach Tom always reminds us. He says, "It's called a play. It's not called a serious. It's called a play." And it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be childlike. This is a thing that reminds us when we were kids, when we got to play make-believe and we got to use our creativity and imagination. And I think for a lot of actors out there, if your audition process or your acting process is stressful and wrought with anxiety, that's the sign that you're doing it wrong. And you need to fix something internally in your mentality, and or go to somewhere where you can get help, because I think a lot of that stress and anxiety comes from the fact that actors are worrying about tech. They're worrying about camera and lights and moving their shuffling around their living room, or having to bug a family member or a friend who's not an actor. And then the actor end up coaching the person off camera. So instead of focusing on their lines and their own character, they're having to take care of the person off camera, which just is not the job. Your job isn't to take care of the person behind the camera. Your job's to express the thoughts and emotions of the character and tell the story. So yeah, I love it. Great job. 5 stars. 5 stars. You know what? I'm going to give you a 5-star slap for that.
Thank you.
That's a 5-star gratitude slap. You know,
that's great. Thank you so much, Lars.
1 slap for every star. There you go.
Okay. Thanks.
That's
great. Oh, wow. All right. That's fantastic.
Don't forget to nap it off camera. So there you go. And 4. Oh, there you go. And lucky number 5.
All right. Oh, okay.
They'll be like, "How does Lars get such great results out of everyone?" He slaps the shit out of them. I took that from Will Smith's.
If that's your one takeaway,
right. Right. We just got another positive review here. Adam Daniel Mazzei says, "It's not every day you got to be on a pod with 2 of Time Magazine's sexiest men alive." I don't know which I feel like that's not Time Magazine. Maybe that's Tim Magazine, or Time with HY, like the Spice Magazine somehow.
That's a great magazine.
Right. I don't know. I mean,
when they feature 2 of the sexiest men alive, you know it's a good magazine, right?
The Spice Men. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. It's true. You. No, you know what? We should just take that compliment. I take all it back. Yeah, it is not every day you get to be on a podcast with 2 of Time Magazine's sexiest men alive.
You're welcome.
I mean, you're welcome. You're welcome. We earned it. Yes. Should also just take a minute for those of you who missed our 3-day workshop, Audition Hero, where we shared how to up-level your audition process and step into the dream role that you've always been waiting to get into. God, you ever start a sentence and you're like, I don't know where this sentence is going. I'm just running into a wall with this sentence. What I mean to say is if you missed our 3-day workshop, Audition Hero, don't fret, my friends. You can get instant access to the 3-day replays. Go to laughingvikings.com/audition hero, and you can get instant access to all 3 workshops. It was an amazing event. We had actors from all over the world, from the States, from Canada, from Mexico, from UK, from Portugal, from Iran. And it was an incredible event. It was very inspiring. So if you're looking to up-level your audition process, and if any part of you is struggling with your self-submit auditions, go to laughingvikings.com/audition hero, and you can go right now. I'm giving you permission to leave the podcast. Go real quick, register, you'll get instant access, and then come right back to the podcast. I'll wait. And we're back. Are you back? Did
Yes,
you go?
I am.
Did you go? Okay, here we go. Yes. We also wanted to talk. I'm in conservatory still, and you are often taking classes. So one of the things we wanted to share was what we're learning in those classes. I was up in Tom's class today doing a cold read, and it was a scene from Parallel Mothers, which was one of the Oscar nominees for Best Picture, I believe. I have not seen it. But I'll share the big lesson in our scene, and it's something that Tom shares with us a lot of the times, and it's the idea of act at the speed of life. Too many times, actors, when they're running scenes, especially on auditions where you're maybe not fully, the words aren't quite in your body, will go way too slow, where it's my line, your line, my line, your line. And in real life, especially when it's something heated or emotional, and in this case, it was a very heated discussion between a man and a woman about a baby and a pregnancy, and she's the mistress, so there's a lot of emotions and drama in that. But his note was, it's just got to be faster. You got to be stepping on her lines. She's got to be stepping on your lines, so that you get to the point where the part is playing you and the scene is playing you, rather than I say something, then you say something. I say something, you say something, which to a viewer is just death. And it becomes very predictable if you're watching in the viewer and you can predictably guess, like, okay, she speaks and then he speaks and because it's also just not real. You watch that and something about it will feel false, because in real life, when you see a couple that's really heated, if you walk in a grocery store and you see two people ribbing each other out, they're not politely waiting for the other to speak. They're just they're barely even listening to the other person. And a lot of acting is listening to the other person, but in a heated argument, often in real life, we're not listening. We're hearing a couple things that they say and then immediately reacting with our rebuttal, so that it's back and forth. So it was the idea of saying our lines even faster. Like Stacy would say a line and Tom would be like, you can say that entire thing 3 times faster. And Lars, I don't even want to hear a breath, like no dead space between, just jump on that last word, because have your response locked and loaded about 3/4 of the way through her lines, like we often do in real life. Often in real life, we're not listening actively. We're waiting to speak sometimes. So, and I think that's just a huge lesson, and a huge, it's one of those easy fixes. A few episodes ago, we had the 5 ways you can up-level your auditions. Often it's just work on pace. I think you mentioned that too, right? Yeah, you mentioned rate. Yeah. So we did talk about that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times it's just like, yeah, that was great. Now just do it faster, so it seems like a real life thing. And that also means removing punctuation and not playing commas, not playing periods, not playing every ... like it needs to be this long dramatic pause. And then you earn your pause as you go fast. And then you get to something and someone drops a big bomb. And then that takes the wind out of your sails for a minute, and you have to react to that, which in our lingo would be an event potentially, mm-hmm. or something with a lot of importance. or some people refer to it as a beat change in a script, but just back and forth, back and forth. Adam Daniel Mazet says a great example of that: the Spanish improv that Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz did in Woody Allen's Vicky Cristina Barcelona. Allen told those two to improvise an argument sequence at the drop of a hat, and they performed it masterfully in the streets of Barcelona. And it's a weird thing. It's as soon as you see that, you're like, and if you're witnessing that, you can even be tricked into thinking that these people aren't acting. They're just like, oh, what's going on here? And then you're like, oh, they're just acting. But it's because it seems real. And you emotionally and vocally, when you're going that fast, you get caught up into it. And then at the end, you actually feel like you just had a real argument with someone, because you basically did. But it was because it was at the right speed and vocally and your breath and everything. So that at the end, maybe you're a little out of breath. Maybe you feel heated because emotionally you were getting all worked up, and it just doesn't get there. If it's slow, then it's Tom always mentioned it's bad daytime television soap opera, where it's just these dramatic pauses and these breathy, like I say a line and then I gaze off into the distance, which is just terrible. So act at the speed of life. That was my big lesson in acting class with Tom today. And then the other thing that I wanted to share is we had our second class, our subversive clown class. And the thing, I'm not going to share all the lessons. I just want to share the homework. This is the brilliant thing about being in an acting conservatory, is we had homework, but often it's really fun. So our homework, legit, this is our homework this week. He instructed us to laugh more, laugh louder and more inappropriate in public. So to get caught laughing out loud. Feels good. Feels good. And he said, and I love this one because I do it already. He said, sing songs about things that you're doing in your everyday life. So like, I'm doing a podcast. I'm doing a podcast with BK Broiler. We are broadcasting to the world. Oh, yeah. That's a terrible song, by the way.
I loved it.
Do you do that in real life?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I sing songs all the time.
Making some spaghetti in a pot. Earlier, I was singing, I'm emptying my bladder in the toilet, all my urine going out my wee-wee.
Oop, oop.
Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, add lots of boops and beeps.
Yeah.
And then he also said any scenario where you win or lose, and the example that he gave was if you're catching public transportation, you run after it and you just squeak in through the doors. Give one of these, sweet, or like, sweet, a fist, like more fist bumps, which for us in Tom's language is guidepost 7, communication and competition, which is also communication and competition is guidepost 7 as it relates to rate and fighting for what you want and acting at the speed of life. That's also communication and competition, when two characters are fighting for their point of view and for their for their argument, and so much that they're fighting fast for it. And then he also said when we lose, find spots throughout the week where we get to say, oh, nuts. So if you miss that cab or you miss the door, just, oh, nuts. Ah, shoot. Oh, nuts. And the other homework was to be mischievous. So he said, go to the grocery store and like nothing, like he's like, don't wreak havoc on the world, but like move the mustard to the ketchup shelf or turn the labels around or turn a bunch of things upside down or just little goofy things. And that's fun because then someone comes along later on and they laugh at it. Or maybe that might mean if you're in a climate where there's frost or snow on the car windows, do some funny faces or some silly faces or write some silly things. And then the other example was don't turn around in the elevator. So just walk into the elevator and be like, floor 7, please. And just stand facing everyone in the elevator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
that
it's
was,
basically like a test to get you used to embarrassment, and so
yeah,
you're not
it
worried
was,
about it.
yeah, the idea was be a little more irreverent to societal norms, and the big lesson is like society and life in general is saying be small and don't act out. But if you want to be a performer, the whole point of that is to act often bigger than life and larger than life, and to step
Mhm.
out of your comfort zone, and to not be that person who just steps in line and just keeps their head down and just blends in with everyone else, which we really are taught to be that way in society.
Mhm.
And also to spread, he did also say, in a positive way. So that's, you're spreading joy, and like, how fun is it when you were like, yes, I did it, and then all of a sudden you're like high-fiving people and people are cheering you on. Like, that's fun. It's fun to do. So
I
it's,
wanna add to that, just for anyone listening right now. I want you to be ultra polite to anyone you meet. Ultra polite. I'm talking like pleases, thank yous, helping anyone.
yes,
Be more observant in your
yes.
everyday life. If someone needs help lifting something up, go help them lift it. If someone's struggling to get down out of the subway or like out of the bus or something, go help them down. I love this idea.
It,
That's a
it
fantastic homework thing.
it feels really good when you do things like that. I mean, you're talking about paying it forward and being kind and opening a door for someone, or even complimenting someone. Just be
Yeah.
like sweet jacket, man. Like,
Hmm.
just like, and that's also like dialing up the love. When you see something that you love, actually express it. Or you see something funny, tell the person, oh man, that was hilarious. Or even catch people doing those things. Catch someone, you see someone open the door for someone else, and then you walk by like, man, that was really nice of you. Like, thank you for
Yeah.
doing that. You just made the world a little better place. Yeah, it's contagious. Thank you,
And,
Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. I just want to say thank you. One of my favorite thing is thanking people for thanking you. So say thank.
oh,
So I'll
oh,
say,
thank you, Lars.
oh, thank you for thanking me, Brandon.
Oh, well, thank you for thanking me for thanking you.
Oh, Brandon, that's so nice of you. I just want to say how grateful I am that you would thank me for thanking you for thanking me for thanking you for thanking me.
Wow, Lars, this has made my day. Thank you for thanking me for thanking you for thanking me for thanking you.
Mm.
And
Brandon, I am just so full of gratitude that you would take the time to thank me for thanking you for thanking me for thanking you for thanking me for thanking you for thanking me for thanking you.
Lars, thank
Oh.
you.
See? See? I already feel better. I'm going to cry in a podcast again here.
We got more comments from Adam Daniel Mazet. He says, I love Tom and I haven't even met him. The man sounds like he's more hoots in an owl commune.
Yes, and that actually, that homework wasn't Tom's class. That was our clown class, which is another instructor, Chris, and I'm going to butcher his name. I'll have to look at his name. I mentioned him twice. Both of his classes have been so simple but so profound. Like, we're doing these very, very simple exercises and very, very simple games, and
Mhm.
everyone comes away like mind blowing. There's like profound moments of truth and tears even in the class, where someone is like, oh, I've never felt so vulnerable and so real ever. And we're doing very, very simple things, but it's the idea of like, the other thing that he talked about today was stripping away, um, because society teaches us to not be vulnerable and to not really be seen, and to hide and cover up. We do. Oh, speaking of
Ooh,
covering up and
Blur.
hiding, the blur is
Great
back.
to see you, Blur.
Yes. Hang on 1 second.
Any words of wisdom, Blur?
Just keep moving fast so nobody
Keep
sees you.
moving fast. I love
No,
it.
no,
I love
that's
it, Blair. You always
come
come on
on.
here and give such words of inspiration.
I'm
And for me, I'm profoundly grateful whenever you show up, Blur.
I was
Oh, what
literally
up, Lars?
I
You
was
miss Blur.
literally oh, he was here. I was literally making the opposite point of, the point was be seen. So the exercise, we had to introduce ourselves and say a few facts to us, but he wanted everyone to just stand up, open, like no holding your hands, no extraneous movement, no looking away when you're
Hmm.
thinking. So you just had to maintain eye contact, look at everyone, be open, no funny twitching or no crossing your legs or no scratching your head, like and if things came up, like if you started to get snotty or if your eyes started to leak, our instinct is don't be seen. I don't want that to be seen. But he was just like, sit in it, be there, be seen, be open. And it was like it was profound. Like both of his classes, we all walk away and we're like, what even was that? But it was amazing. Yeah. Shout out to him. Chris, it's like Tremanian or Trevantian. Yeah, I'm butchering. I don't know. Here, I got to look it up because it's bugging me now. I got to hang on one second. Talk amongst
I think it's interesting what you were saying, because it comes back to something we were talking about earlier before the podcast, Lars, and that comes with trust, because you have to trust your other castmates that you're working with. You have to trust the crew that's on this movie. There's so much trust involved in being vulnerable. And I'm reminded of a quote that Tom likes to say: actors need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And
right.
There's so many times where we just have tics that we don't even realize. And part of that is becoming conscious of those tics, those personality traits, those biases that we all have that have been ingrained in us that sometimes we don't even consciously think about. Do you have the name up?
Yeah, it's Tremantana. Chris Tremantana. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it right. I'm going to put it in the comments. Chris Tremantana. He's got a great resume and tons of training, and his classes are great. But it's exactly what you were saying, is just trusting that you're enough, trusting that you can be seen, and being also is the idea of being generous and selfless enough to be seen and to bear yourself and not hide and cover up. But like that was the big thing he was talking about. And I do it. I mentioned it last week. I do it in the podcast where when you're thinking of something, you look away or you look down or you look up and you're like, and you do that when you're a little lost or when you're fumbling for your words or you're thinking of a name, instead of just remaining here in that stupor of like, oh, I don't know what I'm saying right now, and just remaining open. So yeah. Shout out to Chris. We've only done 2 classes, and I think we only have 7 or 8 with him, and both of them have been mind blowing. And for something as in your head, you think that clowning is just going to be the silly, wacky, like put red noses on or something like that, and it's not at all that. It's been quite profound, but also really fun too. So fun.
Yeah. When I was working on clown in school, I always found it to be like a more freeing viewpoint, and viewpoints itself is very freeing to begin with. So it was a lot of fun to do. And we had our red noses. We got them like plastered, and like they were molded to our nose, and it was really cool.
And in our warm up, one of my favorite things that we occasionally do it in a voice and speech class. I think it's called Gurning. Is it called Gurning? It's like a facial exercise where you get real small. So you basically like scrunch all your face like almost like a lemon. Yeah. And then you make real small noises. So you go like, and then you go as big as possible. And then you go, So it's like you try to like physically, like without using your hands, peel your face off like you're peeling a lemon. And then like you're pinching a lemon into it. And it's so fun. What a bunch of idiots we are, eh? This is great. If you're not an actor right now and you have some desk job that you hate, this is what we get to do. I literally spent 5 minutes going Great. Very freeing. Very freeing.
Oh yeah.
What else do we want to talk about? You've got classes that you're in right now?
Currently I am not taking. I'm only taking Tom's class on Saturdays right now. We were actually discussing communication. We were discussing importance this week, which is such a fantastic guidepost. I really do love importance because it amplifies the personal aspect to you in the scene. And like it, because like it, I always approach a scene as like, where can I apply my importance of who I am to what this character is? Because there's certain things in my life that I consider vitally important that maybe someone else doesn't. And those are the dualities that I find really lighten up a character or really spark up a character. Because it's I think we were talking about this before, Lars, where it's the things that we apply the most important to and someone else doesn't. That's where you find the opposites in the comedy. Did we talk about this before?
I'm not sure in those words, but that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, opposites is
Right.
born
Yeah,
of
like
comedy.
like an example where if someone is someone missed a bus that comes every 7 minutes, but they're freaking out like this was the most important bus, or they like their coffee just so, and so when it doesn't come the way they want it, it's a catastrophe. It's the end of the
Yeah.
world. Like you see a lot of that in like Seinfeld, for example, where it's all these really mundane things, but the characters care so much about them. And I think that's a big part of importance is in a scene, just care more. It's visually as an audience, you want to watch someone who is invested in a situation, and this you often hear it as stakes, raise the stakes. A lot of scenes, that's just a quick dial up. It's like fucking care more that you get your point across, or care more about the situation, or
Mm-hmm.
dial up. That's also guidepost love, relationship, find the love this person more. Or we were watching a scene the other day in film class where basically the guy had to express his love to the woman, or if he didn't, she was on the way to a date with a new guy, and this was his like one shot. So it was really about dialing up, like, this is your one shot. If you don't tell this woman and express and convince her that you love her and she's the one and you've been in love with her, she's going to walk out the door and she's going to go meet another guy, and maybe they're going to live forever happily ever after. So it's like, make it more important. Like, this is, you got to bare your fucking soul right now. Otherwise, she's gone and it's over. This is your one shot. And that relates to Stella Adler's quote of no film or play happens on a normal day. It's always
Mm-hmm.
on an extraordinary day with under extraordinary circumstances. It's also, don't make it some random so friend. Make it your best friend. Don't make the cake some blah cake. Make it the best fucking cake you've ever tasted, so that
Mm-hmm.
it has more importance. And as an audience, you don't watch sports where two people don't care about it. Like, that's amateur sports where they're just hemming and hawing. It's like, you watch competition. That also relates to competition. The higher the importance, the higher the communication and competition is. And then you're watching, well, what's the most important game? Is the championship game. But the top pros play every game like it's a championship game, because they never know throughout the season what's going to be the game that gets them that last seed in the playoffs, or gets them the first ranking so that they seed better to then do better in the playoffs. So it's
Mm-hmm.
raise all the stakes, raise all the importance, and just care more. And that's visually gonna, like, apathy. There's a lot of that in new some TV, like sarcasm, or just the blah, I don't care about stuff, so I'm just going to be a block, like that, where people are playing it comedically, where they're playing apathy as comedy. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a little hack, like it's a little trick that might, or a hack that might work a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not really a good it's not a good strategy in life, and it's not really a great strategy in the acting world either, because then you're like, well, this person doesn't seem like they even give a fuck about being in the room or auditioning. Or is it the character or the actor? Like, who doesn't care? Is it the actor that doesn't give a shit about this audition, or are they playing the character to not care? And that's
Mm-hmm.
also not interesting. Like, neither one of those is interesting. It's like, you want to see people fight for something that they want, that is very important. And then that's also, as you mentioned, that's comedy. You take something that's not that important to other people, and then you're like, why the fuck does this guy care so much about his coffee? It's just a coffee. It's $1. Like, what's his deal? But you watch someone freak out over $1 coffee, and it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, 100%. And we have a question from Adam Daniel Mazet. Question about your conservatory experience. I'm assuming this is for you, Lars. Is it better than you expected? About what you expected? Not what you expected? And what is your opinion about mixing coaching styles? Counterproductive, or one never knows from whence one obtains one mentorship and inspiration?
Great question. And my answer would be a resounding more than I expected. It's been even more transformative and deeper than I could have ever imagined. And a lot of that is from the spectrum of classes that I take, not just Tom's classes, but all the faculty across the board. Like, so we're doing, we have acting classes with Tom where we do scenes and we do monologues and we do cold reads and audition pieces. Then we've got a bunch of voice and speech classes. We had an improv class. We have a film history class, a theater history class, a film production class, a Shakespeare class, an Alexander technique class, a Linklater class, a business of acting class, a Chekhov movement and viewpoint class. I'm still missing some. I haven't even named them all. Oh, we had a voiceover class as well. We have this clown class. So it's actually more classes than I even expected. But each one of the instructors, they're top level instructors. They really fucking care too. So and this was part of the reason I joined the Conservative. I went and did the conservatory. I did the week-long intensive in New York City last summer, and all of the instructors, especially one that stood out, was Mary Lou Rosado in her Shakespeare class, which I'd never really done much Shakespeare since high school. And in high school, I didn't give a shit about it at all. But just seeing her passion and enthusiasm, and you see her going over the words, and she's just like, ooh, look at here and there. And oh, she's saying them with such passion where it's what's the word? Like, it's contagious. When you see someone that type of passion, you get swept up in it, and then you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. This woman loves it so much. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the class, you're like, wow, that was really deep and transformative. So yeah, across the board, so many epiphany moments. I had never taken a full conservatory experience. I started acting later in life when I was 31. And so all my training was piecemeal. It was a lot by learning on set, student films, and doing background, and then taking workshops and intensives and learning on set and learning through books and reading and watching videos and all this kind of stuff. But I'd never done one full, all-inclusive, all-encompassing program, which was causing me, or I was anticipating it to eventually cause me to have some imposter syndrome eventually, where I knew, like, the further I go in this field, I'm going to be eventually acting across people who have been to Juilliard and been in the Royal Shakespeare Company and have studied and studied and studied with all these greats. And I'm like, well, I learned by doing stand-up and improv classes. Like, I was feeling like I wasn't going to stack up later on. So a lot of it's been a confidence booster to me. And just going deeper. I think anything you care, if there's something that you care about, this is my advice to everyone, no matter what it is, whether it's acting or not, just go deeper, peel another layer off the onion, go deeper, go deeper. If you take someone's introductory class and you like it and you like them as an instructor, be like, I like that. And I was just getting the intro, like the get a taste teaser class. What about the full class? What about the week-long class? What about the month-long class? What about the year-long class? And that was my thinking with Tom. Is I always really connected with him at the workshops and the Saturday workshop, and then the intensive. And I was like, I'm loving learning from him, and I am deeply affected and transformed by a day with him and a few hours with him. So it's like, how can I not be more affected by going more? And part of that is just when you invest in something as well. It's one of my business coaches, James Wedmore, says the transformation begins with the transaction. So I also paid a lot of money for this. So when you invest in it, then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I better show up and I better like work and put in the time and put in the energy and the emotions to it. So that was a big part of it to me. And to answer your question there, what's your opinion about mixed coaching styles? I'm going blurry here again. Let me see if I can fix myself. Well, you guys are going to have to deal with it. I'm just going to stay here blurry. There we are. I think it's great. I think you do. It can be a challenge if you ever hear contrasting opinions, but that's also life. Throughout all of life, you're going to hear different things from different people, and part of becoming your own human being, and as an actor, what are we? We're becoming professional human beings. You have to start discerning what works for you, and it's not about one person having the be all and end all technique and opinion, and the one way. It's, you take pearls of wisdom from different people. You figure out, you know what, that really resonated with me. I really like that. I really connect with that style. And you take from them, and then you can amalgamate it so at the end of your life, you have your own opinions on life and your own beliefs and philosophies. You're not taking anyone's own coaching. It just says the be all and end all dogma and everything else is garbage. And I think that's a bad way to live your life. So you got to sort of take everything with a little bit of grain of salt. But when you really connect with someone, connect with them and lean into it. And that's how I feel about Tom's teaching and the technique and the structure of guideposts, vocal variation, and viewpoints, and 4 agreements. It is a really all-encompassing technique that I find works in every scene and every scenario, more than other techniques I've learned and heard about and studied, where it was just like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It seems he's the closest thing to working all the time, and it's because it's a mix of science and art, or it's he talks about it being the physics of performance, if that makes sense. So that's my long-winded answer to, it's been 2 thumbs up conservatory experience. I think, and it just comes down to invest in yourself, invest in your training, invest in your growth, invest in your learning, whether it's with Todoroff Conservatory or any other training. Just go deeper, train hard, keep learning.
And I love what you said about no coach is the be all end all. I 100% agree with you on that. I think it's vitally important for every actor to have as many different coaches as possible. Never marry one technique, because acting is a lot about contradictions. There are a lot of contradictions in acting because it comes down to the personal. And what we talked about before, what is important to you will be important to somebody else if you apply your technique and apply your personal aspect to it, to the work, because it will feel so much better for you. And because it feels so much better for you, we'll feel that. We will innately understand that when you're on stage or screen, because we're innately drawn to people that care. We innately want to experience that for ourselves. We know that feeling of when something is important to us, that we just immediately gravitate towards it. And I also love what you said about the contradictions, because as I said before, acting is a lot of contradictions. There is a lot of contradictions throughout it. And I think I've said this before on the podcast, but I think Tom's technique and the Todoroff technique is probably the closest thing to the least amount of contradictions to it, because it is very much like, if you follow the guideposts, if you follow vocal variation, if you use viewpoints in all of your work will not be bad. And that
it's certainly going to be better. It will always be better as you dial up all those things. Yeah, and those contradictions too, that's life. As you hear chatter, you read it on the internet, and you got to discern, you got to fact check your own things through your own experience. Not just take like, oh, I read this on the internet, this has got to be true. That guy said this guy said that. It's like, you're going to hear varying opinions, and a big part of life is shutting out some of that noise and discerning what's factual for you, or it's not even a matter of facts. It's just what is working, what's fun,
what's fun
useful,
for you.
What's useful for you, what's enjoyable for you. And that's another thing about Tom's method, is he puts a big focus on playing the positive, playing humor, playing the love. And that's what all of us want in our lives as well too, and fighting for what you want. So if you're really loving things and you're having fun doing it, and you're fighting for what you want and saying yes to what you want and going after it, that's going to translate on screen as an actor, and it's also going to translate in your life, because your life's going to be better. And that's something, not that I don't think Tom bills himself as a life coach, but when you apply all those guideposts and when you really learn them, you see it all in life too, not just in TV and film and on stage. You walk around, you're like, oh, that's opposites. That's why that was funny. Or, oh, that was a great discovery right there. Oh, man, was that ever importance? So, yeah, no, it's very transformative. So I would highly recommend. And it's sad that it's coming to a close. We finish the end of, or first week in May. I'm excited. It's funny. It's that bittersweet thing of I'm excited for the next phase of my life as a performer, and I am excited. I'd be lying if I wasn't excited to have some of the time in my week back to do other things. But also the reason I'm excited is because I know I'm more heavily armed with more technique and more knowledge and more training in general, so that I know when I now have the time to go out and apply that in my life and in my career, that good things are going to happen from it. So as sad as it's going to be to say goodbye to those instructors and to my classmates, but the flip side is we've developed such strong relationships in our ensemble. It's 22 people from all over the world that never would have met in person ever before. And we've met via Zoom. And the instructors are brilliant too. And every one of the instructors, when they finish the class, has said, you can email me, you can text me anytime you want. Like, consider me a resource for your entire career. I'll always answer your emails. So it's not like you paid for this course, and if you don't pay me, I'm not going to answer your question. Everyone has been amazing by saying, like, this is now a lifelong relationship, and I'm a resource that if you ever need anything, reach out and I'll do my best to reply and help you out wherever you are in your career. So it's been brilliant.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Sha-la-la-la.
Sha-la-la-la.
Yes.
So I think we're coming up to about the wrap.
Yep.
But before we go, Lars, do you want to tell the people all about
Comedy Alley? That's right. We are coming up to season 2 of Comedy Alley here at Laughing Vikings. If you were here last summer, you saw some incredible performances in our intimate rooftop alleyway. It's weird to even explain it. I still don't know a good way. You have to see it to believe it. It's like coming through the wardrobe and all of a sudden you're in Narnia, except there's a comedy show instead of an ice queen and a king who's a lion. It's brilliant. We got some of the best performers, the funniest comedians in Canada, people you've seen on Just for Laughs, JFL 42, Comedy Network, CBC, Crave, Hulu, Netflix, HBO, and more. We do them weekly here. We haven't announced the show dates because they are weather dependent, so we're waiting on the weather to cooperate. But you can join our VIP waitlist. Go to laughingvikings.com/comedy alley. Join the VIP waitlist. You'll be first notified when we release the show dates, and you'll get 50% off your first show. Go, 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 go.
Nice job, Lars. Nice job.
Good soundbite. Brandon loves when I give him nice, clean, under a minute soundbite so that he can just nail that Instagram reel.
It makes my life a lot easier, and I love it.
But I am very excited. It's a very intimate venue. There's only 20, 25 seats. We always book. It's all pro comedians. Occasionally we have some up and coming amateurs as openers, but you'll see 4 or 5 headlining comedians, people who headline comedy clubs and festivals across the country and other countries. I often host those shows, so I'm bringing all my friends who are comedians to bring them to the stage and inviting neighborhood people to come join us. So go to laughingvikings.com/comedy alley, hop on the VIP waitlist. And as soon as we book the show dates, that waitlist will get first crack at them. And the reward for you is you'll get 50% off your first show. So it's going to be great. I can't wait for that. You excited? You should be excited.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
DJ BK Broiler. That's the thing. Yeah. Yeah. He's not just a podcaster. He's not just an acting coach. He is a hell of a DJ Spotify. up and down those Spotify playlists.
Oh yeah. Yep. I bring up the volume and I bring it back down again.
Oh yeah. Yep. He knows how to raise and lower the volume in between acts like no other DJ.
Some say I'm great. I just say, I do what I do.
DJ Spotify. The DJ volume slider. So good at it. He's so good at it. Adam Daniel Mazzei says,
Comedy Alley is like osmosis, passing from an area of low comedy penetration to a area of high comedy penetration through a Laughing Vikings membrane. Did I say that right?
I don't know if you did, but I feel dirtier for having you said it. Adam Daniel Mazzei, I appreciate your enthusiasm and I love the fact that you're here, but let's maybe not use the word penetration so many times in one comment. I feel a little violated just hearing that. There will be no penetration, and if there is any, it's completely consensual. That's the guarantee that I give everyone here who comes to our shows. No one will be penetrated. No membranes will be burst. All right.
We can cut all Comedy Alley.
We can cut that out if needed. Yes. We're okay. We're okay. Somebody can give me a slap. Wellesley Robertson says, is he better than DJ Winamp? I don't know. There's only one way to find out. We're going to have a DJ spin-off, DJ Winoff versus DJ Spotify, and see. Oh, there's one more. It's going to be a three-way between, it's getting dirtier, a three-way competition between DJ Spotify, DJ Winamp, and my favorite, DJ AM/FM. Just up and down the dial, just turning the dial, hitting scan, just hitting scan on a car.
So you're not even sure what song's going to pop up? You're just...
Nope. All requests. So what do you want to hear? Taylor Swift? Scan. That's it. Oh, that's Aerosmith. Oh,
DJ Napster.
That's Metallica. DJ Napster. That's good too. I like it. All of the DJs.
All of it.
All the DJs. All right, and shout out to Wellesley Robertson. We'll announce this too. For those of you who are members here at Actors Audition Club, we've got our monthly members meeting, which we do on Zoom, where we get all our members in a Zoom scenario where we share news and updates. We share success stories. We share resources. It's an opportunity for members to ask us questions, specific coaching questions, specific training questions, to make suggestions on how we can make the membership and how we can make Actors Audition Club better for the members, and just hang out and have a little fun. So we're going to do that in about half an hour at 7:30. We're going to hop on a Zoom with members. So Wellesley, hope to see you there. And if you can't make it to those, we'll record them and we'll throw it in the members area so that you can always catch up later. So if you can't make it, but I would say make it, just be there in person. You too, Adam and Wellesley, be there. I heard DJ Spotify is going to be there. He's spinning the playlist today.
I am spinning the playlist.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Once again, make sure to go to laughingvikings.com to book your audition sessions, and go to laughingvikings.com/audition hero. Or Brandon just threw it up there. Oh, there it is. laughingvikings.com/audition hero to step into your dream role in 2022, and you get access to the replay for our Audition Hero workshop. Thank you so much. I think we had a successful Abraham Lincoln 4-score episode, but I would like to finish with a slap.
Okay. Oh,
do me now.
Ooh.
Yeah, do me.
Okay, ready?
And what the F, Brandon? Come on. I better win an Oscar. Or you win the Oscar. Whoever does the slapping wins.
I mean, I'm going to win an Oscar, so.
For the slap. Yeah.
Yeah, for the slap.
And the award for best award show slap goes to...
Oh.
I just want to say thank you, Brandon. Thank you for that slap. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic week.